Hi, this is Off to Battle, and I'm testing XSplit VCam for background removal and so on and so forth. And besides that, I'm going to walk you through, with my cursor actually showing today, the Rewards of Dread favor shop, as I like to call it. That's in the same way that we have a grade shop in the Tales of series like Tales of Arise and so forth. I'm something of a fan of it, but anyway. So I replayed a whole bunch of times the Khazra campaign at the end of 3.1 and at the start of patch 4.0, partly because, one, it's fun, and fun is very important, but two, I wanted to answer a very basic question. Banner of Madness, is this a must-buy? Well, it does depend somewhat on the lore involved, but broadly speaking, yes. And this, well, I'll tell you first of all, physical resistance is pretty darn good, so 10% physical resistance, that's great. 10,000 favor. So, what this does is it applies the Jabberslythe Aura of Madness on the character who gets, or unit who gets this banner. And the point of this is so that you will inflict damage per second like a Morse engine if leadership is lower than 50% of the base of that unit. So, the thing is that Kazrak, people had tried to tell me that you have a random Bray Shaman. It's not true. It's not true in this game, at least, to Warhammer 3. It's always the same Bray Shaman of Death with nice purple fur. Like, that's cool stuff, but the death thing is just... Okay, number one, they've greatly improved Purple Son of Xerxes. I think that's Xerxes? But or is it Xerius? I can't remember now. Bottom line is, the Purple Sun is much better than it used to be. So, in that sense, this is less important. But on the other hand, Bray Shamans of Death do not have very good ways of dealing with blobs. So you have a very hard time putting away a beaten foe. All these Empire cities that you're trying to besiege, all these Empire armies you're ambushing, and the morale gets low and units are close to breaking, and you're not able to do extra damage to them. Well, you do extra damage to them with this, the Aura of Madness, because you cause fear and you cause terror, and yes, eventually Khazra can cause terror to Empire troops. But you want one of these. And this goes nothing to... Malagor is a discouragement machine. Kazrak has the Scourge, which does discourage as a contact effect. Taurox, he produces terror because he's Taurox, so he doesn't need another reason. Malagor, this will stack with Malagor's own stuff. Different auras that cause Morse Engine effects will stack. They have to be different in some way. And he also upgrades the Jabberslythe. I don't know if that shows up as a different aura, different from this, so that the item would stack with the Jabberslythe, but Jabberslythes are a late game unit. And they're very nice, but they're a late game unit. In the early game, you can really want to spend this kind of money because this equals damage, and damage is very good. And the most important thing about it is that early on, you are limited by the horde growth, so you can't get a lot of advanced units with this stuff anyway, and even if you could, you have the Dread Shop costs. So you would have to go into stuff for unit caps and start doing things. And here's the Incarnate Elemental, by the way, the same level as Cygors and Gorgons, and where did I put Zangors? Right here. Right here. So the Zangors are on their own. I have a video for them right about to go up. They are fully implemented in the Beastmen roster. The red lines give buffs. That's all good. So, here's the thing about the Banner of Gorog. You can only put it on a Minotaur unit. It's also 7,000 cost. It does the effects permanently, which means that the armor minus 30 permanently as long as the banner's on it, in that battle. Or in any battle until you remove the banner or the unit is no more. So it won't benefit Gors, it won't benefit anyone else except Minotaurs. But on the other hand, plus 40 to a Minotaur unit and plus 50% weapon strength is monstrous stuff. Pun intended, sort of. Minus 30 armor is very bad, because that's over the course of an entire battle. So my inclination by default is to never mess with this until, number one, I can replace the Minotaurs. Number two, I prefer to put it on Minotaurs with shields. But anti-infantry or anti-large is mainly important for the 2-hit, for the melee attack bonus. So if you're getting a melee attack bonus of plus 40, they're basically anti-everything. So here we have Mutated Gorgon Hide. It is an armor. So you get this plus 10 armor, plus 5 melee defense, and it gives Blood Frenzy. This is pretty strong. So I would consider getting this for your Gorbals and, you know, basically everybody, honestly. It's good stuff. It's good stuff, and it's more reasonably priced at 5,000, so it's a way that you can proceed. Now, Blind Eye of Seeing, because I've been doing the Kazrak campaign, because I found it fun, frankly, by the way. It's fun because you're constantly doing guerrilla warfare, even though you are a goat, and it's a different feel from a lot of other campaigns. Not everything, but I mean, even Skaven don't play exactly like that. So it's interesting in that sense. So the Blind Eye of Seeing, it's Psycho themed. So the idea is you get more Winds of Magic when increasing. Now 20% when increasing means that if you were going to get plus 5, then it would plus 5, then it would be 7, because that's plus 20%. That's what it means. So, beyond that, Savage Dominion is all about summoning Psychos. The thing is that with the item, and this, yes, it's 7,000 favor, but with the way that we've reworked the starting the missions, you can get enough gold to get one of these before trying to do the Lorelorn Forest on turn 2 with Kazrak, because they don't actually recruit until the end of turn 2. So you want to try turn 2 rather than 1. So you can have this on your Bray Shaman of Death and give yourself a much higher chance of successfully taking that forest. Which is interesting. The AI has been interesting in certain situations, but they're pretty competent on defense like that. I'm told that this got changed a lot, that this price, jacking it up to 10,000, is something that they did for balance reasons. But the thing is that melee attack plus 10 is good, ward save is good, perfect vigor is amazing. So this is to delay your ability to doom stack with everybody having perfect vigor. Banner of Unholy Exaltation, speed plus 15, weapon strength plus 5%, and these are percentages, physical resistance 5%. For 5,000, it's not bad, but on the other hand, it's a banner. You don't need this, you may want it, but it's mainly for the speed. It's otherwise just a general thing. Battle-Scarred Ungor Raider, campaign movement range plus 10%, campaign line of sight plus 10%. Nobody cares about this. Everybody cares about this. That's big. 10% campaign movement range, 3,000 favor. If you have time to think about it, just give it to everybody. Everybody should have it, because it's cheap and it gives you a tangible benefit on the campaign trail. Shotstone Amulet, charge bonus plus 15%, Vanguard deployment. Well, there are units that cannot get Vanguard deployment easily. Example, Gorbals. So if you have a Vanguard army, basically, and your Gorbal is feeling left out, you could give them this. Otherwise, you would have units on Razor Gore Chariots, which wouldn't get Vanguard deployment normally because they're not Kazrak, they're not as cool as he is. And you give them this, and poof! Front lines. Phalanx on the Drakewald, plus 10 melee attack, plus 15 weapon strength. Good stuff, good stuff. There's no reason, if you don't have better, just get these and hand them out to your Gorbals. Or Wargors, or anybody. Cloak of Unreality. Now this is the Great Bray Shamans, the Lord version. They get this as a passive skill. It does slow down they're getting their good spells, but still. So it's a Hex, minus 10 speed, minus 10% charge speed, which means that charges are softer and do less impact damage, and minus 5 melee attack. And that's just a passive in a 35-meter radius around the spellcaster, and it just adds passively spell resistance and missile resistance. So it's as if you get both of those skills, but they double up with skills. 5,000. It's only equipable by your mages, I think. So there's nothing bad about this. You like this, you want this, but it's probably not your highest priority. But the thing is that even just the missile resistance, people like sniping. Your Bray Shamans. Karl Franz wants Deathclaw to eat them. It's very consistent. He really wants them to die. So if you anticipate that, and you work around that, you not only have a Cygor summons, and I put out a video about Cygors, and I'm using them constantly in melee rather than actually chucking rocks. Chucking rocks is more in place of artillery to get people to move towards you, but it takes a while. But yeah, No Winds of Magic 2 summons. A free unit that inflicts terror and can bash things in melee, and it's anti-armor, so good stuff. So you have this. Karl Franz has a worse time beating upon your Bray Shaman. And that's it for the favor shop. So, like I said, I think that Banner of Madness is, in the end, it's very, very useful. And you should have a very good and specific reason for passing on it if you're going to pass on it. And Malagor should be wedded to this thing. Because even more than Kazrak and his contact effect from his using his whip, the legendary item, Malagor is just a leadership debuff machine. Just being in the area and stuff will be afraid of it. Why not do damage to them too? Why not? Anyway, take care. Have fun. And have fun, Morris engineering the world to death, I guess. Take care.